Welcome you all to the course on Gender Studies. This is the fourth episode in this series. Let me tell you the three objectives that I have framed for this episode on gender and media representation. The first objective is to make the students understand the relationship between popular media and audience culture. The second objective is to enrich the knowledge of the students about the two concepts in gender studies, namely stereotypes and hegemony. The third objective is to develop their cognitive thinking towards gender discrimination in advertisement and media images. Now, gender is a topic that deals with a great deal of prejudice, myths and falsehoods, says Connolly, the Australian writer. And another definition is from Judith Butler that gender is a performance. So it is implied that there is much scope for gender representations in media. Particularly, the popular media might engage in myth-making, falsehood, prejudicial views to sustain its commercial value. If gender is a performance, then media is the right platform to perform. So the representation of gender in the popular media may or may not be true. It may often be the imaginary representation that is totally contradictory to reality, or sometimes reality to the core, or even sometimes exaggerated reality. But oftentimes they are taken to be ideal reality. That is why they have attained the status of popularity. It is our acceptance and promotion of such ideas represented through which the particular media becomes popular. So audience generates response that make the media popular. It is in our views, reviews, subscriptions and sanctions that any media flourishes. So popular media has sometimes a direct and straightforward effect. In olden days, heroes and heroines were taken as role models, but the present intellectual society, except some youngsters, has not taken the idea seriously. They find ideal hero and heroine as somewhat embarrassing now. The viewers are not mere audience or viewers, but have become creative media producers now. Let me repeat, the viewers are not mere audience or viewers, but have become creative media producers. So they have emerged from audience to producers. It is because there is a revolutionary transition from WWW, that is World Wide Web, which was introduced in 1990s, to the YouTube world or culture, which was introduced in 2005. So the audience from mere viewers to become the creative media producers in the present world. People spend less time with TV, which is a traditional media now, and consume more of their time in online popular websites. Now we find a change of relationship from audience to user or participants. We can say from passive listeners to interactive members. Why media is popular? Let's see. Everyone aspires to see other person's perspective. We are much bothered about others' affairs, how the world works, what is wrong with the world. We give the least preference to our own world. So nosing for news, scandals, opinions is our habit. Either consciously or unconsciously we do such things. Therefore, media is popular. Now, popular media representation are either conscious imitation or unconscious submission. So we consciously imitate certain aspects and we unconsciously submit ourselves to certain things. With this small introduction on media and audience culture, let us learn something about the popular term called stereotype in gender studies. Gender stereotypes are simplistic generalizations about the gender attributes, differences, and roles of individuals or groups. Stereotypes can be positive or negative, but they rarely communicate accurate information about others. I said it's a simplistic generalization about the gender attributes. So, in this generalization lies the stereotypes. So, women are more compassionate than men and has a greater propensity to tears, but the male is more disposed to give assistance in danger and is more courageous than female. This is the view of Aristotle, and it conveys the stereotype that women are more compassionate than men. So all the women are compassionate, particularly more compassionate than men. So it attributes a particular quality to women and also generalizes it. Now, another quote from Jacques Rousseau: a man will say what he knows, a woman says what will please. So it says the view that man will always say what he knows, but women say something that pleases everyone. Now the third quote from Alfred Lord Tennyson. He says, man with the head and women with the heart, man to command and women to obey. Man with the head and woman with the heart, man to command and woman to obey, all else confusion. So he has the traditional viewpoint, and he stereotypes that man is rational and woman is emotional. So these two stereotypical idea, emotional and rational, are respectively given to woman and man. Now, media influences our behavior and makes a lasting impact on our attitude and lifestyle. The information that it delivered to us might be unheeded, but it is recorded and come into existence at one point of time, even unconsciously. In what way media is related to gender studies? Particularly, how does it promote or influence our lives? Let us trace how the media manifests the behavioral patterns that we take from TV, internet, magazine, and theaters, etc. In fact, they guide or appear to guide us on how to move with a friend, how to propose a girl, what is a standard life, why should I be loved by people, how to bring up children, how films impact my dressing, gestures, and ideology, who is perfect consumer, what should I purchase, and why should I purchase this, why not to prefer anything else. So these are the questions that come into our mind while we look at a advertisement or news or any such media representations. So these questions are statements that determines our behavioral patterns. So these manifestation of behavior in the media reflects in our behavior as well. So as far as the gender creation is concerned, it sets the two distinctive traditional traits. They are namely masculine and feminine traits. The one is independent and the other is dependent. Let me list out some of the stereotypes that the media displays. So, aggressive, strong-headed, dominant, active, tough, these kind of things or attributes or stereotypes are often attributed to men. Submissive, caring, emotional, passive, gentle, and these kind of stereotypes are often given to women. So you can understand how the society is in a perfect design, where you can come across the dichotomy or binary oppositions: aggressive, submissive, strong-headed, caring, dominant, emotional, active, passive, tough, gentle. Therefore, we assume the traits as real qualities expected to be possessed by any women or men in the society. Thereby, we can say men are instrumental, women are expressive. Men are competent, women are empathetic. Men are rational, women are sensitive. Men are assertive, women are passive. So the variety of these attributes identified as masculine and feminine till date have wider acceptance. And this stability over time suggests that gender stereotypes are deep-seated in people's mind, and it cannot easily be eradicated or changed, even quite often a century, right? So if you agree with these characteristics, or if you do not agree with these characteristics, you need to make a discussion and argument. Now, sometimes paradoxical truth is found in Sometimes paradoxical truth is found even in stereotypical representation. For instance, working class boys are represented in jobs that require the use of force. For example, police, the military, the private security, blue collar crime, and the professional sport. But the young women represent jobs that repair the consequences of these violences. For example, nursing, psychology, and social work. Even in the stereotype, we come across the paradoxical truth that men and women are mutually required to fulfill the duty and bondage of life. With this note, let me move on to the next term or next concept called advertising. So, how advertising has become a popular media representation and how it is useful or how it is vital in representing the gender equality or inequality. Now, advertising is an implied or persuasive form of socialization media and largely influence our behavior. So, sex in advertisement either does rational or emotional appeal. Instead, we can say sexual appeal. So emotional appeal can be equated to sexual appeal as far as the gender studies is concerned. To make an emotional bondage or sexual gratification of audience rather than promoting mere products. So advertisements are not meant to promote a product but to project a prevalent culture as well. Women sometimes takes advertisement to attract men or depicts practice and controls our thought process. There is a huge difference between how is the actual behavior and how we think men and women behave. So there is a huge difference between the actual behavior and how we think men and women behave. Becker says it is to sell sex. Advertisements often sell sex. Men to be attracted, women to set ideal to attract men. So this study, a study of representation of body postures, suffice patriarchal norms. Advertisements are creating and challenging gender ideals. Advertising markets use women's bodies as object of consumption by men. Mass media are the tools to help men and women adjust to contemporary life. So media saturated commercial value or commercial culture. It awakes men and women about who has the most, who has the best, the biggest, the fastest. So it rides from the enslavement to glamour. So we seek for the best, seek for the most, seek for the biggest, we seek for the fastest. Right? So now let us look at the difference of power and inequality as manifested in advertisement. Power or inequality can be manifested in three ways. Either men and women can be shown as marginal, that is servitude. Men and women can be shown as egalitarian or equal view, not submissive at all. And men and women can also be shown as overpowering or dominant. So these three, marginal, equal, dominant, are the positions that denotes the difference of power in advertisement. How does the advertiser picture this kind of difference of power? They display or manifest this difference through body placements, positions, dress, feet position, hitting or yelling. Say for example, a wife is yelling at husband. It shows the overpowering or dominant wife. Right? If a man dresses very bright and woman is very uglily dressed, it shows the marginal or servitude. If man is sitting and woman is standing before the man in folded hands, it shows the woman's marginal attitude and man's higher position. And woman is sitting under the legs of man, and man is just placing his legs on the head of the woman. It shows how woman is dominated. So holding a weapon is also a symbol. If a woman is holding a weapon on men, it shows the dominant mentality of a woman. So these are some of the postures or keys to determine the power positions of men and women in advertisement. Therefore, advertisement and culture is now a popular field of research. Advertisements reflect dominant culture. It takes and exaggerates prevailing culture to present them again to audience. So cultural change is in the hands of media, which can serve or break culture. Culture is a source or target of media. Advertisement simply reacts to the power relations. Now, let us move on to the concept of imagery. How imagery works in advertisement, how imagery in media speaks. Image or appearance. Say for example, male beauty is in its muscular or physique. The heroes with soft and smooth bodies to muscled ones setting ideals as image of violence. This violence is taken to be ideal for life to youngsters. Female beauty is in its thin physique and advised by many manifestation of dieting and working out, as if a girl going to gym and placing membership and getting beauty aids, operations and surgeries, etc. So we imitate the illusion. Particularly the girls or women imitate the illusions and to take them as ideal to some extent. It is because the culture of transition from Indianness to cosmopolitan identities, change of tradition to modernity. In work culture, image of women is used often as subordinates to men. For example, men are portrayed as boss, manager, patron, and women as secretaries, flight agents, and servants. The problem with such images is the problem with overrepresentation of masculine versus marginalization of feminine traits or images. So the modern form of sexual images are not inferior, are not taken to be inferior, but empowering. Sex has become a weapon to be used in the society to show the potentiality or efficiency of women in the present context. It proclaims the freedom of expression. Lakmika Jol, Rin Supreme, Hammam are some of the ads picturing empowering or empowered women. Therefore, these advertisements have become gendered. There is contra side for this empowering image, that is, celebrities used in ads, particularly women celebrities, whether there is not much relevance to them. The female celebrities are shown as young, dangerously thin, heavily made up, and not doing anything in magazines, visual ads, particularly in ads like motor vehicles, sports, shaving lotions, garments that are not their ground at all. They are used to sell through sex. It is not a promotion of product, it is a promotion of culture as well. It depicts the sales promotion as well as a cultural degradation. Now let us move on to the last term, hegemony. Hegemony stands for power or authority. But the right definition for hegemony is that it is the domination of a set of ruling beliefs and values through consent rather than through forced power. Therefore, it is created, the power or authority is created through consent rather than through forced power. So keep it in mind. Therefore, the society, including women, gives its consent to such authority and thereby makes it dominant ever. So hegemony speaks one's dominance or dictatorship ideal as opposed to timidity, submissiveness, note-taking and disciples. For example, there is a term masculine hegemony where we can chew on words like male, white, workplace power, position, business attire, youthful, tall, muscular, white chest. So these words, male, white, workplace power, position, business attire, youthful, tall, muscular and white chest, connote or denote the power. How these aspects show the male or masculine power. The non-hegemonic male is addressed as non-white male, Negro, older than 50 years and so on. So hegemonic male is a backbone in media representation, an extension of cultural attitudes and societal structure. Male's dominance in the gendered world is denoted also through patriarchy. Media is a social institution or representation. It represents, supports the pulse of the dominant power in the society. Let us now see hegemony in films. India follows an oppressive gender culture in media. Men is shown as active and women as passive. Sometimes women as existing for men's pleasure. It focuses on the question of privilege in the cosmopolitan world. The word cosmopolitan is associated with maleness, while local Indianness denotes femaleness. Intensified images of male violence shown in action movies are brought from Hollywood to Bollywood. Films picture men celebrating violence and thus paves way for associating maleness with violence and idealize male's physical power. Women are often subject to sexual objectification. She is a form of male dominance. Now we can make a distinction between masculine and feminine as far as gender studies is concerned. So that we can trace such influence in the media in recent times. Masculinity and femininity. Let us look at these two terms. Masculinity is seen as a state of being man. Femininity in recent times is seen not a state of being a woman, it is perceived as a stereotype of women's role from the past. Females do not intend to revise but to dispose of the passive concept altogether. Therefore, feminine display is understood as a mere performance either to serve man's pleasure or to achieve a particular goal, for example, sales promotion of a product through sexual appeal. But in recent times, love for Barbie dolls declined and Dora, the explorer, the inquisitive and the multilingual adventurer replaced Barbie in popular animated TV series. So it can be said that from aesthetic to assertive girl power is gradually replaced as role model. Nevertheless, traditional ways are still taken seriously. For instance, lack of femininity in a woman is often criticized, even today. But the role is optional. The famous Madonna chosen her gender as a tool for performance. She chose the femininity as the available guise to use her full potential. It may be taken as passivity or weakness. In applying for a job, femininity is sometimes taken as a cultural capital, bringing both pleasure as well as problems, inspiring as well as insecure. Now, what is modernity and influence of media? Now let us see what is modernity and how the influence of media in the modern time has been. Modernity is internal rather than trust in external forces such as laws, regulations, social expectations, which are considered to be secondary now. I am my own judge, and this extreme individualism is one of the impact of media. Women have entered the labor force and gender roles become slowly homogeneous, that is, inseparable. Reversal of spheres is being felt in public and private as well, but only in attitude, not in behavior. With these words, I wish you to ponder over the media representation of gender and make your estimation of it. Thank you so much. I will catch you in my next session.